Well, awesome. Looks like we got a small little group here today. Must be the theme for the day with meetings. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started. Let's do a quick round of introductions, and we'll just sort of popcorn it. So pass it along to somebody next. Sergeant Hebert, you were here first, so I'll let you begin with introductions.
Hey, it's Mike Hebert, Traffic Sergeant, Missoula Police Department. Just waiting for spring so I can get my bike as a little bit warmer weather. They were actually out this week, even as cold as it was. And I've got 2 more new motor officers coming on probably the next month. That's what's going on with me.
Excellent. Kira, you want to go next?
Sure. Kira Huck, Safe Kids Montana, led by Foundation for Community Health. Yeah, are we supposed to give an update or just name?
No, go ahead and give an update.
Okay.
And then pass it along to the next person.
Sure. So I'll just give the same update we gave at our Safe Kids meeting this morning. We received a grant from the Buckle Up for Life program. It's a joint project between Safe Kids Montana, Safe Kids Missoula, to assemble and distribute some car seat checkup kits to some of our more rural partners that may benefit from having supplies on hand. So we're going to get that project going and hopefully have those out soon. And I will pass it to Sheila.
Thanks, Kira. Sheila Callahan, UFO researcher and radio broadcaster at Mountain Broadcasting. And filling in for the news director this week. Kira, would you send me the information about that grant so I can do a news story on it? Thank you. And it's just been a busy week, and I don't think anyone, it's actually kind of fun for the guys that do the weather when there's actually weather, but no one is celebrating this cold spell anywhere. So that's my update.
Kevin,
and I'll pass it on to Kevy.
Kevy, there you go.
All righty. I'm Kevy Berger, Safe Kids Missoula coordinator. And yeah, weather bites. I'm over it. Just going to throw that on out there and just let it sit in the universe, and maybe it'll bring us something yummy. We have a ton going on, of course, with Safe Kids. So if you want to know all of our updates, reach out to me and I'll zip you a copy of our meeting notes. But one thing we'll be doing pretty soon is we're going to do a car seat checkup event at the Family First Expo, which is on Saturday, April 30th. And that will be going from 11 to 2 in the Missoula Public Library parking lot. So of course, we're encouraging techs as well as some volunteer scribes to help us out during that 3-hour period. So if you are able, willing, available, or would like to do a news story, let me know and I can get you more information.
And who would you like to pass it to? And you're muted still.
Let's go, Kevin.
Good afternoon, everybody. Kevin Dusko from Department of Transportation, Highway Traffic Safety. Here in Helena, yeah, it's 55 degrees here and sunny. So I don't know what's happening in Missoula, but that's the capital city for you. I'm joking, it's freezing. It's not soccer weather by any means. Yeah, no, so we're busy here, just keep the federal funds flowing to state and local programs. We're preparing our budget for federal fiscal year 23, reviewing all of our local requests. And yeah, thanks for having me, Steve.
Thanks for being here. Kevin, who would you like to throw it to?
Hi, Rich.
Rich Sloas from the Missoula City Attorney's Office. I think I've been in a trial the last couple of meetings, or certainly the last one.
I guess an update from the city side, the PD is doing a great job of enforcing our DUI laws. We are seeing very high levels of BAC, which is really not uncommon. But what we are seeing is high levels of THC. We're getting blood as high as 28 nanograms of active, as well as a mixture with alcohol and some prescription meds. And we are seeing some designer drugs as well. I don't know who's left.
I can go.
Okay.
I changed my name. I figured everyone would be afraid to try to pronounce it. So I'm Martha Van Sickle, and I'm the newest deputy county attorney in Missoula. I don't have an update yet, but Kirsten asked me to be on the task force, and I work in justice court too. So with Judge Holloway, and obviously we see a lot of DUIs, and we have road court. So yeah, nice to meet you all.
Thanks for being here. Nice to meet you too. And that would be a perfect segue right over to road court and Samantha there. Look at that. She already unmuted. She's ahead of the game.
Ready for it. Good morning, everybody. Samantha Arkian from road court. Things are just going. Things are just happening. Chugging along. Had a graduation this week. Had a new participant today. Working with city, and yeah, just trucking along. Hoping our application for funding next year works out. Kevin.
Sure it will. I'm sure it will. God.
Hi, Dodd McDermott from Missoula Rural Fire. Sorry, I was a little late coming in. We basically spring is sprung around here. We're real busy doing brand new house and business permits and inspections in my department. We're getting prepped up for our wildland fire season. Seen a huge influx in like a amount of people moving into the district in the area and stuff. And we're definitely busy around here. So it's pretty much my update there.
Excellent. Thanks for being here, Dodd. Appreciate it. Reagan.
Hi, I'm Reagan Mika. I'm Frenchtown Community Coalition Coordinator. As far as updates go, we had a big event last week. Laura Stack from Johnny's Ambassadors was here. She presented to middle school and high school students, and then we had a parent community night. Her son, Johnny, died by suicide due to cannabis-induced psychosis. So we're just trying to get his story out there with she had wonderful facts and data and research, and so it was awesome. Right now we're working on planning for a summer conference in Frenchtown. So I'll pass more information on to Steve once we confirm it. We're dealing with some of the legal aspects with the school. We're getting ready to do refusal training in the middle school next week. So yeah, some fun things coming up.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. Kind of looking at the agenda here for today. Let me just throw that up on the screen and we can take a look at it. So one of the things that I've been doing since our last meeting, I don't know if any of you are on TikTok, but if you are, please hop on there and do a search for Drive Safe Missoula, at Drive Safe Missoula. I have a series of videos on there that I've titled Bad Idea Videos. They're all really short, 34 seconds long, each one of them. I have 6 of them on there. I don't know if you'll be able to hear the audio or not, but I'll go ahead and play one of them here. So that's kind of the gist of it. It's really short. There's no, I mean, there's just background music. And could you guys hear the background music at all?
No.
Okay, I didn't think that was going to come through or not. So I didn't have my computer set up to stream the music, but I got everything from broccoli helmets to I think there's one on there that was like raccoon rabies corn maze type thing. So I got a truckload of different bad ideas on there. Hopefully they're somewhat entertaining. But each one of the videos, obviously there's two really off the wall goofy things, followed by a serious thing like, drinking and driving. That's a bad idea. Not wearing your seatbelt. That's a bad idea. Putting a car seat in the front seat. That's a bad idea. So those are the types of things that I'm doing. So trying to throw a little bit of oddball humor that comes from my slightly demented brain into these videos. So if you are on TikTok, I could definitely use some follows and use some likes on those videos. And please feel free to share those. Also, you can find that on the Drive Safe Missoula YouTube page as well, where I put them up there. And then I'll be making a blog post here soon as far as that goes. Just a quick update around the state right now. You can see there's 34 fatalities as of April 5th. There were 55 fatalities this time last year. 20 of those are impaired driving, 17 improper restraints. Statistically speaking, right now, it's more dangerous to be a pedestrian than it is to be on a motorcycle or a bicycle. We've had 6 pedestrian deaths so far this month. And Kevy is definitely focused on that over at Safe Kids with a new press release out, doing some work there, talking about pedestrian safety and distracted driving. I just came back from Billings. I got stranded in Billings over the week. Drove there on Monday in the storm. My daughter had a doctor's appointment on Tuesday morning, took them to the hospital. My daughter and my wife took them to the hospital. I went back to the hotel for a 2-hour meeting with on passenger safety. By the time I got done with that 2-hour meeting, I actually had to put chains on our van to get back to the hospital. It was insane. And still amazing driving in weather like that. I can look over at the vehicle next to me at a stoplight and they're on their phone in that type of crazy weather. So distracted driving, it's got a hold of us. We are addicted to it and people are driving under the influence of that technology all the time. So just, try to help us all set the example and try not to drive distracted. Even on the way back yesterday, there was probably, the roads were for the most part really clear. It's about 10-mile stretch, but I almost saw one car drive right off the highway. He passed me with his phone in his hand and hit the center rumble strips on his way to the ditch and saved it at the last minute. So pretty crazy for sure. So if you could, once again, hop onto TikTok and follow Drive Safe Missoula, I'd appreciate that. Any questions on the goofy stuff I'm doing on TikTok? Okay, seeing none. Awesome. All right, we'll move on. This is going to be the main, probably the main thing we're going to spend the time on today. And again, I set this for an hour and a half. We might not utilize all this time, but I just wanted to make sure that we had enough time available to go over all of this stuff. We have the 2022 DUI Task Force plan that's going to be due on June 1st. I have to give it to Kevin here by then. It has to be signed by our county commissioners. So what I wanted to do is sort of go through this. Hopefully you have all had a chance to maybe glance through it a little bit. Chances are nobody has, but that's all right. If you have had a chance to go through it, that's great. I would love to get your thoughts and ideas about what we're looking to do here this next year. Of course, the last couple of years with the DUI Task Force, Buckle Up Montana, Drive Safe Missoula as a whole, we've been stuck in pandemic mode, and most of my efforts have been focused on building out the Drive Safe Missoula website and focusing on that online engagement and being able to have a place where people can find us online if need be. I truly believe that's starting to pay off now. Most of my phone calls that I believe are coming in related to child passenger safety and car seats, people are talking about, hey, they found my website and now they're reaching out to me for a free car seat or something like that. So that part is great. People are finding us, but I'm still trying to, get that content on the website so more and more people can find us and reach out to us and they know what we're about. So that's one of the big things that we're doing. Did anybody, and it's okay if you did you have a chance to look at the last year's plan? I know it's been on the website over the year, but has anybody had a chance to review it before today's meeting?
Well, Steve, I looked at it last year. I haven't looked at it recently, and I think the big thing was the videos that you were working on, the teen directed videos. And I think that you've gotten a lot of that done. And in fact, I think that you've built out a lot of stuff that, besides the website, that's useful and can build. And I do see, because I'm a Facebook contributor, I do see the stats when somebody likes your Facebook page, you get a new view of your Facebook page. So that's been nice because I think it's grown.
Excellent. Thanks, Sheila. I appreciate that. All right. So some of the things I know, we'll just sort of chat a little bit about this stuff. Think Twice has been a big project over the last several years here. I know my first meeting before I was officially on the payroll that I attended, like the week before I officially started the DUI Task Force meeting, was when Forrest from Think Twice came in and gave his initial presentation to the DUI Task Force about Think Twice. That's going really, really well. And in fact, if you go on to the Drive Safe Missoula website, right up at the top under DUI Task Force, the second one down is Think Twice. You hop onto there and you can see, I'll sort of, let me go here, move myself over. There we go. On here, we can see all the different places here in Missoula, the bars and restaurants that currently have Think Twice in their bars. Scrolling down a little bit, you can see all the different Gallatin County and Park County, and then Lewis and Clark County bars that have Think Twice in them. We're going to continue to support Think Twice as much as possible. We still have some money that they have not spent that we have paid them to grow our list. So hopefully we can look like Gallatin County, since we were the ones that sort of brought Think Twice here into Missoula. I'd like to continue to do that. Perhaps as COVID numbers continue to go down, we can get Think Twice to maybe some more events that are here in town as well. I know we had them here like right as COVID was hitting the United States. In fact, Seattle was the first place, which is where Think Twice is from. And they were just starting to break the news that some of the retirement centers there in Seattle were getting hit with COVID. And we had Think Twice here on February 29th that year doing a event downtown, a drinking event. Really popular event. It was amazing to see all the different people standing in line, asking questions about breathalyzers, learning information about the difference between blood alcohol content or breath alcohol content and intoxication and impairment. It was fascinating to see. So I'd really like to get more and more involved with Think Twice here. So check out under DUI Task Force Think Twice, more information about that, especially if you're not familiar with it. So Definitely check that out. I would like to find some other ways to maybe expand Think Twice. I know I've recently had conversations with the university, since alcohol will be sold inside the stadium during football games this next year. That allows an opportunity to also do marketing and advertising in the stadium. In the past, we've had issues with that because typically one of the local vendors, Summit Beverage, for example, would put some sort of drink responsibly message up in the stadium. You know, the Missoula DUI Task Force wants you to drink responsibly, drive sober, yada, yada, yada. One of the things that they would then put on there is that this sign is sponsored by Summit Beverage, which they were never allowed to do. Now with the alcohol being in the stadium, that may open this up for some form of sponsorship from companies that sell alcohol, so or distribute alcohol at least. So that could be a potential option for expansion of Think Twice.
Have you talked to Mike at the athletic department about that?
I talked to, and I don't have right off the top of my head, it would take a minute for me to search on my email, but there was somebody from the marketing company with the university that reached out to me, and they were going to have a couple discussions with the athletic department specifically about that.
Yeah, the GSA is convinced that it's the only way. I was surprised by that. They very much promoted having sales inside the stadium because they feel it's the only way to limit drinking at the games, and that's been the experience at other locations. So I think that either Greg Sundberg or there's another name there, but Greg Sundberg would be a great place to start.
Yeah, we'll definitely have some communication with them. And I know we had some issues with having Think Twice at several of the games where we were looking to have a booth where people could come by, check their BAC on their way out of the game. And there were issues related to one second, I'm going to close my door here real quick. We're puppy sitting for my son, and the dog is a little excited out there, so I just wanted to keep it quiet. They were wanting to charge us for a space at the stadium to set up the booth, and we were like, well, traditionally the vendors need the space during the first half, and usually at halftime they tear everything down, maybe right after halftime, and then that space is no longer used for the rest of the game. I said, well, we need the space at the end of the game. So pretty much after fourth quarter, right? We don't need the space during the game. Maybe halftime, it could possibly be useful, but chances are not. People don't have time to maybe wait in line and test their BAC. We need the space after the game. The value of that space is already gone, and most of those spaces are already vacated and they're gone. We just want to be able to set up shop as people are getting ready to walk across the bridge, for example. And we ran into a lot of problems where they were like, nope, we can't let you do that. And I'm like, well, it's an abandoned space already at this point. So we may be able to open up discussions again and continue to battle that and maybe get Think Twice in for the season, which would be ideal if we can do that, I hope. So, and possibly even get the straws for sale inside the stadium, which would be nice as well if we could have some signs up and things like that. So hopefully that will be my plan for the expansion of Think Twice, if that makes sense. Any other thoughts, ideas, questions, concerns?
Steve, this is Rich.
Yeah.
I just have a question. I guess one, who is testing the BACs, and how accurate are the instruments, and does it open you up to liability if they're under, drive, crash?
Right.
And this might have been addressed previously. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and Think Twice has gone round and round, and it's actually probably their number one, concern that people voice related to the testing of this stuff. So the straws themselves, which you can see right here on the screen, so that's a single-use straw. They have a little crystals in there that you blow through. They react to the presence of alcohol in your breath, and they turn a shade of maroon. Let's see, I might be able to, let me zoom in on this here a little bit, so I'll make it a little bit bigger for you. So as they go up, that or the darker they get, the more alcohol you have present, and it just shows a 0.08 being the legal limit, and it stops at that. So it's a gauge. It's not an actual number, but they have gone round and round with different like legal departments and all that stuff, and they understand that this is for, and they let people know this is for educational purposes only. This is not a device that we don't record numbers. We don't, when they're there doing this testing, they have portable breath testers. Very much the same style of technology that's utilized, within law enforcement on the street. And Sergeant Hebert, you might be able to voice on this, but I don't believe the PBTs on the street are utilized as evidence. Is that correct?
Short answer, no.
Right.
Short answer, no.
Okay. So with that, these aren't utilized as evidence either, but they're designed as a way to help educate the public with this. But yeah, they've gone, like I said, that's one of their number one objections as far as, people having any concerns about Think Twice. When they bring in their portable breath testers, they have handheld devices, but they also have a tablet. And what they do is they give people the opportunity to guess what they think their BAC might be. They don't go as far as like an intoxilizer would go, where, like an officer has to observe somebody, for a set period of time before they test to make sure nothing, has been consumed, or there's nothing in their mouth, or whatever the case may be. Typically what they try to do to get rid of that residual mouth alcohol is just have them swish with water. And ideally in a restaurant type setting, they do have the instructions on the straws that say, don't consume anything 10 minutes prior to taking this test to give it, some bit of accuracy. But yeah, they've gone all around with that legally. So nobody's held liable for it, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, you betcha. Any other thoughts on Think Twice? Thumbs up to go ahead with moving forward with that sort of plan for next year?
Oh, definitely. And I think what you might want to do is hit all the downtown bars that you can, although I see most of them there before homecoming.
Okay.
That's going to be the first big crowd downtown, and there's some that are not in there, but are you contacting them personally? Are you emailing them? What are you doing?
That's a great question. Forrest with Think Twice is in charge of all the sales and marketing for Think Twice. We've just provided them with some extra tools, a little bit of funding to provide like the media kits that go in the bars, which is like their posters that they hang up in the bathrooms, and like a first box of the straws that they give to the bars. And I think we have maybe 6 to 10 more that we have funded. And then the bars make their reorders. And I know, let's see, it was 2 months ago, Forrest was supposed to be here to give us an update on how everything's been going with Think Twice. And then on the day of our meeting, he had a little baby girl. So he wasn't able to make the meeting. So hopefully we'll have him here in the future to do all that stuff. But whenever he's in Missoula, he's the one that's actually going door to door and talking to people and making the sales. So if that helps. Okay, perfect. I'll move on to the next thing here, the DUI project. I don't know if many of you remember back in October of this last year. I think Sheila might have been the one that sent me the original email going, hey, Schmitty, do you know what this is? But the DUI project is a project on my website. Let me just, pictures worth 1,000 words. Again, under DUI Task Force, the first one down right at the top is the DUI project. It takes you to this page here. You got a couple different options. One right there at the top, no joke. This takes you to Leah Jokie's website. Leah Jokie is a graduate from Juilliard. She spent nearly 30 years in the correctional institutions of California teaching theater to inmates. As far as it goes, as far, like rehabilitation, inmates that are going to be re-entering our society, to give them a variety of different skills. Anyway, this takes you to her website and you can check that out. If you hit enter on the door, that takes you to the page for the DUI project. And basically what this is a project for inmates. The pilot program was done in October, where inmates from the watch program out at Warm Springs wrote their stories as it relates to their experiences receiving, some of them up to 9 DUIs. And they wrote these stories and then they did a reading to other inmates of the watch program. And then because of COVID and the way things, were working, they had other actors here in Missoula at the university do the stage reading of these plays, essentially, that they wrote about their lives. And they had 20 different inmates that participated in this program. I was there. There's quite a big public group there. It was absolutely fascinating. On the website, you can actually hear a small portion of these readings. I think this might be actually a 20-minute video. So it's quite fascinating to look at this stuff. But these here are all the inmates that participated in the program. And this is Leah Jokie right there, of course, leahjokie.com. Backing up a little bit, this Meet the Participants spot here. These here are bios that the inmates wrote about themselves. If you get a chance to read any of these things, it's insane. I mean, it's crazy. But it's shocking. It's interesting. It's fascinating. It's like, holy smokes. Hopefully this works, because these here, and I'm sure Judge Holloway and Samantha, you get to work with participants in road court like this all the time. These stories. How shocking and potentially dangerous these people are if they continue to drink and they get on the road again. And the whole goal of this is to reduce the recidivism rate, to make sure that they never, ever drink and drive again. So absolutely fascinating. If you get a chance to browse through the website, check that out with the DUI project. Right now, we're in the, Kevin actually just right before this meeting sent me back the grant. So we got to make a couple updates. And I think Samantha and Judge Holloway are working on a letter to help support this project. The benefits of this, not only as far as education, when they do a public screening of this, where anybody can come and listen to these stories, are huge as far as the educational aspects, because you definitely hear these stories and you go, I never want to be like that. But then also the therapeutic nature of it for the inmates that are sharing these stories, and they're looking to do a program here with the pre-release center here in Missoula. So the inmates at the pre-release center can, share the stories with other inmates at the pre-release center, and also our general public, university staff, university students, and then also the staff at these different facilities. One of the testimonials in the grant that I sent over to Kevin was fascinating about how she believed the staff at the watch program were just blown away by seeing their clients in a whole nother light. And so really fascinating. I have an internal battle being former police officer, dealing with DUIs, dealing with the tragedy of it, arresting offenders, knocking on doors, telling families that their loved ones aren't coming home tonight because of a DUI crash that occurred earlier in the evening. So I'm still working with some of the internal struggles that I have with some of this stuff, but if it works to keep offenders off the road and keeps offenders from repeating, then I'm all for it. Leah Joki obviously is a master at this. She's dedicated her life to this sort of thing, and it's just a truly mind-boggling honor to be working with her, and hopefully we'll get her to a meeting here sometime soon, so you guys can all get a chance to meet her as well. So that's one of the big things that I'll be putting into this, and hopefully we'll get this done if we get funded from it. Got some positive words from Kevin here earlier today, so hopefully we can get some traction and get the $5,000 grant to get this program going. The university is also matched that, so they will be putting in $5,000 of university money for this program as well. So we just got to get that done, and we'll be good to go. And then, of course, I'd like everybody to come to the show to hear the stories, because it kind of gives us an opportunity to recenter, to go, hey, this is what we're working for. We are working for the families that have been affected by DUIs, been affected under Drive Safe Missoula as a whole by not wearing their seatbelts, by children not being properly in car seats. This is what we're here for, and this is why we are doing this. This is why you're in this meeting today. So as opposed to just checking a box to go, yep, I attended the DUI Task Force meeting today, or the Drive Safe Missoula meeting today. See you guys next month, and you don't think about any of this stuff until then. So hopefully it will work to help recenter us, who gives us purpose and drive to what we're doing. Questions or thoughts on that being in next year's plan?
Hey, Steve, this is Kevin. Yeah, so thanks for doing some legwork, and I appreciated the conversation. I will give it my college try to get it pushed through the red tape of federal funding, but I'm on it. I'll keep you posted. Sometimes the wheels turn slowly, but I'll try to speed them up a little bit for this, because I know we want to do it in the spring, summer. So I will keep you informed for sure.
And thanks, Kevin, I really appreciate that. And if by chance it does not go through with federal funding, we might all need to come together to brainstorm another way where we could help fund this one way or the other.
Schmitty, thank you for bringing it back. I missed it last year and I was very disappointed. I know I was out of town, and I heard powerful messages come from this. And what a better, this is a great way to connect with the community and bring this information to light. So anything that we can do as Road Court participate, we're happy to be there. I wish, we could say we'd give you the money, but we're all fighting for grant funding as well. But anything we can do. So thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And looking at the goals that Leah Joki has for this, and the goals and mission and vision of Road Court, they're almost identical with this. So it's absolutely amazing. So really just it's mind-boggling. And I appreciate your support with any of that stuff. Any other questions, comments from anybody else? Thumbs up to include that in the plan. Click. Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. Of course, our wonderful Respect the Cage exhibit, that'll probably be until they come up with something different, part of the DUI Task Force plan, or the entire Drive Safe Missoula plan as far as seatbelts and impaired driving goes. We're definitely planning on having it out at the fair again. In fact, I talked to Judge Holloway and Samantha earlier today by email, and appreciated their support from last year, and look forward to having Road Court participants out at the fair again this year. Also looking to maybe find some other opportunities now that more community events are opening up and occurring, to maybe get the Respect a Cage out and about. I plan on having the Respect a Cage, if the whole DUI project thing goes through, to have it at that event also, to hopefully help increase the overall impact of the entire program. So that will be part of the program. I have spoken since the fair last year with the family members of Jeremy, who died in the car with the Respect a Cage, and they still have given us 100% full support to continue the program here in Missoula. So it's great to have their backing with this program ongoing. So any questions on the Respect a Cage? Any thoughts and ideas on how we can maybe expand that program and maybe get it out there a little bit more? Okay, awesome.
Steve?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
one of the downfalls to that is actually getting it to where it needs to be? Is that a problem?
Yeah, that's usually the largest problem, because I get quite a few requests. Well, I wouldn't say quite a few, probably 2 or 3 a year to take the Respect a Cage out of county. And since our sheriff's department is the only ones that have a vehicle that can tow that trailer, and it is quite a heavy trailer, I'm not really comfortable taking it out on the road. Although I think they now have a vehicle that is capable of towing it on the road. But yeah, it's pretty much just contracting with the sheriff's department or scheduling with the sheriff's department to go, hey, do you have a deputy that can bring this over to this location? That's the hardest part. And unfortunately, I can't let anybody else tow it. So even if I had my own truck, I wouldn't be able to tow it myself. I have to have the deputies tow it. So with a county vehicle. Anybody else? Did that answer your question? First thought, I should say.
Yeah, I was trying to find out if there was if we did use another county vehicle or something to tow it, if we could find another way to do it, where if that was a major hurdle as to getting it out to places, that we could find other means to transport it. But I didn't know if that was one of the main hurdles, or if it's just having people sign up for it and everything else. I wasn't quite sure. I know it is quite the big deal to get it out there and have it working. You got to have people with it, and trying to figure out more ideas of how to make it more available and be able to get it out more often.
Yeah. I might be able to see if we can figure out a way to rewrite the policy and maybe find a different county vehicle that, I would have access to, pulling it around on my own schedule. That would be great. So maybe I'll look at exploring that as an option, but I'm not 100% sure. That was all put into place long before I was here. So I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Stats, of course, I'm keeping up on the stats. Sergeant Hebert, Samantha, Judge Holloway, and of course Kevin, providing a lot of the different stats for this. I'll get those all updated from the old report, but pretty much this old report or the plan, the first several pages of that content or basically the overview, the reason why this plan exists, what the problem is, and then basically from page 13 on is kind of like what our plan is, like what are we going to do about this, how are we going to fix these issues. So that's, and of course I'll get those all updated and into the plan, of course, before we submit it as well. Some of the other things that I really want to focus on is some of the different partnerships that we have. I know On the main homepage of Drive Safe Missoula, I have the Drive Safe Missoula partners listed here. And I have a bunch of different people who some I have seen at the table. A lot of you are on here. There's others I've only seen at the table one time. So I'll be looking to update this. But is there anybody looking at this list? Obviously, there's several that we know. Some show up once every other month. Some show up every couple months, once a quarter, once every 6 months. But I'm looking to develop maybe some more solid partners that maybe have a good what's in it for me to be here. Is there anybody out there that we need to be inviting to the table to include them as partnerships, looking to maybe expand and strengthen the DUI task force beyond the solid group of people that are here right now who seem to be here every single time?
Steve, have we got anybody from the schools?
No.
Tyler Christensen left the Missoulian and became the communications person at Missoula County Public Schools. She is excellent. I don't know if she has time to do it, but she certainly would take a call or return a call to talk about what the project is doing. And she has such mad skills in this area that it would be great to loop her into what you're doing with all the materials and the website and everything else. And I can send you her contact information.
Yeah, excellent. And I'll definitely want that when it comes time when I'm finished with the Young Drivers in Control program, which of course will be a big part of the, I didn't get it on here for one reason or another, but naturally that's going to be part of this.
And do the schools, have they ever sent anybody from their driver's ed program?
That would be a question for you that have been around here longer than I've been. I wonder if probably not, only because typically they're teachers and they're usually in session when we hold our meetings. So
could be.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Other partners that I'm looking to reach out to because I do believe they could be influential in helping us spread the Drive Sober message, also the seatbelt message as well. Onyx Maps is one that I just started to reach out to right as COVID hit, and need to reach out to them again, but looking to do some form of partnership or branding or cross messaging with them, because obviously most of our fatalities and serious injuries that happen on our roadways are in the rural environment, not so much in the urban environment. So, and that could be people that are out there hunting, out there exploring the backcountry, utilizing Onyx Maps for what it is. And I know, there's quite a bit of alcohol consumption at hunting camps. So I would love to have that opportunity to, have somebody that, people who are experiencing the outdoors really look up to. I think they're a leader in that industry, and I would love for them to be able to share that Drive Sober message. And by doing so, hopefully that would give us an opportunity to help advertise for them in a way, as far as this is what's in it for them aspect of things, and it will hopefully be good positive press for them getting it out there. So that's one group that I would definitely like to bring on board. I don't know anything about whether it's a good idea to bring car dealerships in or not. I haven't really had that much, if they're not about making sales, there seems to be they don't want to come to the table because they need to be talking to customers. So yeah, we can continue to explore that, but I'll put something in there about expanding and reaching out to other partners to bring them into the whole drive safe DUI prevention world, if that makes sense. Thumbs up on that.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, Dot.
Maybe a suggestion is like the Montana Brewers Association. Maybe if they were going to have some sort of buy-in. And I don't know if there is some sort of coalition for all the new cannabis distributors out there or not, but since they are now part of our DUI problem, that maybe we could get some buy-in from them to help spread the message that, you know, that driving high is also driving under the influence type thing, since it's not just alcohol now, or not that it always has been, but it's not mostly just alcohol now. So
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea. And Kevin, can I ask you a quick question related to the driving high aspect of things?
Sure, Steve.
I know, like, during our last meeting, we were talking specifically, and I don't know if you were here on the last meeting or not, but we were exploring the idea of getting a billboard out there. And one of the questions I had was, can I do a billboard that's strictly geared towards driving high, or does it have to be alcohol related? Because I believe I remember you saying something about the funding is towards alcohol impaired driving only.
So it kind of depends on the funding stream you're talking about. If it's a local funding stream from the DUI reinstatement fees or your operational expenses, you have utmost discretion
Okay.
on that. Yep.
Okay, good. All right. So that's good. So yeah, I definitely think I know in the Healthy Missoula Youth Group that I'm also on the committee for, we've talked about some other location, probably Colorado, possibly Oregon, who did a video with a law enforcement officer and a pot shop owner, and they were basically there, you know, behind the counter talking about the importance of you know, overuse, you know, because the potency levels of today's marijuana is not that of, you know, our parents' age. And the possibility of overconsumption, you know, through edibles, through dabs, a variety of different things. But they did a collaboration video where both the law enforcement officer and the pot shop owner were working in conjunction as a partnership to talk about how it's important to be safe for our community's sake. And it was a I'll have to look for that video and maybe share that, but I would be all for definitely doing something like that to get that out and about as well, to make sure that people are not driving high. And that does seem to be more and more. In fact, at the recent impaired driving state level meeting, the crime lab had submitted all their statistics on that, and the numbers are just going up and up and up. So I think that's a great idea, Dodd. Any other thoughts on partnerships? Obviously, if you have an idea after this meeting, or you have an idea now and you just want to email it to me, feel free to do that as well. Thanks, Martha. Appreciate it. Committees. We haven't really had a formal committee structure within Drive Safe Missoula or the DUI Task Force since I've been involved. I know it was something that Lonnie had started right before I got involved. I believe that she started it right beforehand. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know if I necessarily want to have subcommittees and have the subcommittees have a chairperson and you guys meet once a week outside of the DUI Task Force or Drive Safe Missoula meetings. I don't think that that's necessary, but there may be cases where we need to form a committee for a particular event or project or whatever the case may be. And Kevin, this might be a question for you as well. as far as a DUI task force plan, is it possible for me to, I mean, committees are not required, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so is it okay if we just committees as needed? Would you guys thumbs up on that one? Yeah, Sheila's like, yeah, we have enough meetings already. Okay, all right, good deal. Then that's probably what I'll do is committees as needed, and that way it could go, if something else pops up in the middle of the year that we don't have it on our plan, I'm typically the type of person that will jump on it. If it's a good idea, let's go with it. Let's get it done. So, okay, perfect. And then let me just ask you, and please feel free to chime in, as a member of the DUI Task Force or Drive Safe Missoula, what do you need from being a part of this? What can Drive Safe Missoula do for you when it comes to meeting your DUI related goals? And what would you like to see this next year as it relates to you and your program?
Hey, Mr. Steve. So I know that we just said no committees, meetings. However, I'm just wondering if maybe like, I don't know, maybe even once or twice a year, it would be nice to have separate meetings between Buckle Up and DUI. I know that a lot of things that we work with you on are more child passenger safety, Buckle Up, that type of thing. And so I love the combined meetings and knowing everything. But it would also kind of be nice to have a Buckle Up work plan or something that deals with like just that part of it. And also to engage more. You may have somebody that is not looking to sit on a combined task force or a combined meeting once a month, but they may be interested in, oh, whenever you have events, or, hey, I can look at events calendars, or, we need volunteers for X amount of time. Just as a specific meeting and just making like a mini 6-month work plan or something like that. So it's just an idea.
I like that idea. Okay, got your comment there, Sheila. Thank you.
So, Steve, I think that what I would like from my perspective, as twofold, as a judge in justice court, seeing a lot of DUIs, is seeing that the mission be continued, and you do what you do is to educate the community and find opportunities where we can go out and to bring more focus and discussion on DUIs and driving under the influence, whether it be alcohol or marijuana, and gearing some of the messaging now towards the marijuana aspect of things, as I think we've made significant progress with regards to DUIs. Not saying the DUIs are going down, but the education is there. The younger generation is finding a different ride home. But with regards to road courts, I mean, helping each other continue to move forward, changing that culture as well. I think big picture, we all know we live in this community where alcohol is really just present everywhere. And how do we continue to advocate and speak for those who need a different mechanism or a different type of outreach? So again, community education and collaboration on these different projects. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. You're spot on that.
Hey, Steve, this is Kevin. I just wanted to provide a quick update. So probably everybody knows that one of the main funding mechanisms for DUI task forces are DUI reinstatement fees going back to the county of original jurisdiction. I been keeping a pulse on it. Ever since 2020 pandemic, we have seen a pretty decent reduction in reinstatement fees coming into the state, which I then push out to the county level. I've seen a little bit of uptick of those funds coming in, but it still is not where they were at, say, 7-8 years ago. So I don't know if, I think it's Rich or the law enforcement has any perspective on that. It's, And essentially, you have to get arrested, you have to get convicted, and those individuals actually have to pay those reinstatement fees for those funds to go back to the county level. So hoping that they're going to rebound a little bit, but yeah, it's still pretty thin statewide. It's not just Missoula. Just wanted to share that.
Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. Rich or Sergeant Hebert, any comments or thoughts on ideas on that?
And the reinstatement fees,
Yeah.
I think it's, well, I guess it can't be helped. I mean, I guess there could be two options. One, people aren't drinking and driving as much, which I don't believe. And secondly, sometimes, as a negotiation to resolve, we sometimes stipulate to a reinstatement. And that might be part of it as well.
Thanks. Sergeant Hebert, any thoughts, comments?
I have nothing.
Okay. And you guys all probably heard me say this a few times. I think some of the issues is not the fact that there are less DUIs occurring right now. I mean, there might be, because I believe more and more people are choosing to use like the ride sharing, the Ubers, the Lyfts. Those are much more convenient nowadays than they were, 15 years ago. So those types of things I believe are really helping, prevent DUIs before they occur. So that part I really like. But I think it goes down to, reading the articles about, law enforcement staffing issues, not having enough officers on the streets, having an increased call for service level that has never been seen before in a lot of our cities, where officers are just going call to call to call to call and don't have time for that proactive activity to sometimes do the DUI traffic enforcement. It's a challenge. It's an issue. Heck, I remember going on ride-alongs. I did a 12-hour ride-along with the city. I did a 12-hour ride-along with the county, and I had 0 calls for service. I had 24 hours on the streets, and I had 0 calls for service when I was with those officers, which was just mind-boggling. I used to do 25 in an 8-hour shift in Kansas City. So it's just fascinating to me. But I believe a lot of that is just now the call for service is so high that, and they're, on their way to a domestic violence, there could be a DUI right in front of them, or a suspected DUI, I should say, right in front of them, and they can't go. They can't do anything because they're on their way to, a serious call. So some of that is at play as well. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of that stuff, but
I can tell you from the PD standpoint, I had hoped to get a specific DUI officer with my traffic slots. However, I had no interest in anybody picking up a DUI car. So I got 2 motors who are essentially, they're important and they will be traffic enforcement, but they are not DUI types of officers. And I haven't really gone back and looked at a lot of the DUIs lately, but I do see a lot of crashes where DUI arrests are coming not from proactive work, but basically reactive work. We're going to a crash that has already occurred and finding that driver intoxicated. So, and you're right, the calls for service are greater. Our staffing appears to be looking up. We just swore in 6 officers today, I believe. But it's still those 6 officers won't really be street ready for another 4 to 6 months. So we're always kind of behind the ball on that.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. So congratulations on getting a couple more officers. That's great. And then the other aspect is even if there's a few nice calm moments during an evening shift, if it's been call to call to call to call, over and over again. And now there's a few moments. Some people are really, at least from I'm speaking from my personal experience, I would have, the command staff come across the radio and be like, no self-initiated activity, until after 2:00, and then we'll reevaluate something. Just because if you get a DUI, you're off the streets for anywhere from 2 to potentially 3 hours, depending on what the call or, how it all went. And that just takes another officer off the street, puts less officers in charge of handling the remaining calls for service that are on there. So it was just always a challenge. So, yeah. Anyway, I know our county commissioners, when I submitted this report last year, were kind of a little bit nervous about how the funding is going down for the driver's license reinstatement fees, and wanted to try to look at other ways of maybe that we could assist in funding this position. Although I am 100% happy to be working against myself in a sense, to where if I could prevent all DUIs from ever occurring again and I work myself out of a job, I'm absolutely for that, because it's just the right thing to do. So I would rather have less DUIs in a safe community than me have a job and all of that stuff. So we might have to wait until self-driving cars come and take it all away from us. So we'll see. Any other thoughts on those 3 questions there? What do you need from Drive Safe Missoula?
Hey, Steve, this is just an odd thought that popped in my head. If a self-driving car uses ethanol, is that going to be a DUI?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Perhaps. I don't know. It's all based on impairment level though, right? All right. Okay, hearing none, feel free to shoot me an email, text message, or whatever the case may be, but I'll be working on this, getting it submitted through Lisa, my boss, and off to the county commissioner so we can get it to Kevin well before the June 1st deadline. Right, Kevin? Okay, excellent. Thank you all for your help with all of that stuff. Again, if you have any ideas, thoughts, or whatever the case may be, please feel free to reach out to me. Moving on to Buckle Up Montana stuff. We have the Child Protection Safety class coming up May 17th through the 20th. It looks like the class is full. MPD, thank you very much, is sending several officers to the class. I'm super excited about that. We may need to have a few volunteers to help with the seat check event that typically follows or to be the last half of the day on May 20th, which I believe is a Saturday. I'm gonna double check on that because I don't know. I think that's right. May 20th is a Friday.
Is it? And I think the seat check is from 8 to noon.
8 to noon.
It's just a half a day on Friday.
Okay, excellent.
Is what those of us who are attending have been told thus far.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So 8 to noon on Friday the 20th. Help with that could probably the biggest help with that, because most of the students are going to be doing all the legwork when it comes to that seat check event during the event. Most of the help that I'm going to need is getting the word out about it, doing some marketing and advertising. Sheila will have to talk about that. I believe the state will also, MDT will pay for some of the advertising for that event as well.
Sure.
But I'll need everybody to help spread the word, because word of mouth obviously helps so much. My seat inventory is pretty strong right now. I have, I think, I have 6 seats left in my office, and tomorrow I'm going to be picking up 8 to 10 seats from Charmel. I have not even yet touched the $1,000 that I get to spend through MDT on car seats yet this year. The reason why I've been hesitant to do that is, 1, I have so many seats in inventory. 2, I don't want to go buy a whole bunch of seats that have a expiration date of about 6 years and just hold them in my inventory and then give them to families when they have, 4 years left or something like that. So I'll probably wait until the last possible moment to go purchase those seats and get those in the inventory if necessary. So we don't lose that money. Any thoughts or updates from Safe Kids on those?
We are also going to go grab car seats. We're picking up, I believe, 11 of the convertible seats on Monday. We do also have a pretty good inventory right now. So I know that Missoula Rural Fire, we will be giving them 5 of the convertible seats. So then we will retain the rest in our inventory as well. And we did get some funding for some additional car seats. So yeah, we should be set good for quite a while.
Excellent. So in a situation, Sergeant Hebert, for example, if you have officers that are out and about and they pull somebody over and the child is not in a properly fitted seat, obviously you're going to have a few new techs that could help assist with that family right there on the spot if necessary. But if it's a situation where it's an expired seat, you need a seat or something like that, it might be something where you could give one of us a call and get a seat on scene if need be. Obviously, you don't want to, hold somebody beyond, but if they're cooperative and would appreciate that level of service, you could reach out to one of us and we might be able to get a seat to those officers. I'll probably keep all my seats in my office at the health department. So if they're in the downtown area, I might try to figure out a way where officers can swing by my office and grab the seat and leave me a note that they took one. So, or if you have a storage, I know you guys are sometimes tight on space, but if you need some seats that officers, can get access to 24/7, let me know. We can get you guys some seats too.
And Steve,
Yeah.
all the schools are registering kids for kindergarten next year. And that 5 to 6 to 7-year-old group or 4 to 6-year-old group is an age when they transition a lot of times from one style of car seat to another. It's when parents, I think, have the biggest questions about, is she outgrowing this car seat? Or is it still working right? Is it still fitting right? So that's another reason to get a hold of the school district and ask them to hand out information about car seat checks and who to call and where to get a car seat check, because they're all coming by the school anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, related to what Sheila was just saying when you were talking about PD, we do have those flyers that we put together that have all of the local fitting station partners and Buckle Up and Safe Kids info on there that we've in the past given to Highway Patrol to hand out when they happen to pull someone over for improperly restrained child. So we'd be happy to give those to anybody that might need them. So if you want to email Kevy, we can get more of those printed and delivered wherever they need to go.
I think they would use them. And I think the kindergarten teachers would love to have them.
Well, and Stephen, on a side note too, one thing that we've been working with is like boys and girls clubs and letting them know kind of the information about the car seats and the weights and the heights and that type of thing. And on a very happy note, they actually had a donor who just underwrote the cost, and Boys and Girls Club will now be putting booster seats and or car seats as needed according to the heights and weights of the children for all the kids that they transport for Lolo and Missoula Boys and Girls Clubs. And so it's in their annual plan. They're actually purchasing 45 seats and will be implementing the proper restraints in with each of the kiddos that are younger as well. So that's kind of exciting news, just to get everybody on those vans and everybody that's being transported in the summer. So I do know that Boys and Girls Club parents are also getting notified of, hey, if your kiddo is not meeting the requirements, then we're going to be putting them into a booster seat. And so that's another way of educating. And then they've also allowed us to hand out flyers to the parents for the car seat checkups as well.
Excellent, excellent. That's great. So I think we're going to get probably a lot more of those. You know, obviously the pandemic had, you know, some issues with people reaching out. And of course, we didn't have that much exposure to different families. And I'm trying to do a few more things during events. I just did an event with some others within the health department. I don't remember what it was called. Something like Read and Roll, something like that, where they were telling stories out at the park. And I was dressed up as the kangaroo costume and handing out information on seat belts and child safety seats out there. So that part was really cool. So that was good.
Steve, the Read and Roll, that was we worked with them and got them the car seat flyers. So thank you for handing those out for us.
Yeah, you betcha. You betcha. Perfect. And that sort of leads me on to my next thing. I'm trying to find a picture here because I think go back to my screen share. So I'm putting in a second mini grant. And I think this is going to be a pretty huge thing related to getting rid of that kangaroo costume. So I don't know, many of you may or may not know, in a past life, I was a professional mascot in Kansas City. I absolutely love every opportunity I can to get inside a fur costume, except for that one. That costume is, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So had an idea this last week to do a mini grant for Buckle Up Montana to create or to get the $5,000 to do a new mascot for our area for Drive Safe Missoula. Style of mascot would be maybe something. Let me move me over. Okay, I'll move him over. There we go. Just move the screen over. There we go. I've always been a really big fan of the Philly Fanatic, that style of costume. I spent many years working alongside Dan Mears, who is Casey Wolf for the Kansas City Chiefs. That style of costume, he looks out of his neck. His face is right here. And that's where he sees through the fur. That style of costume, you can see this dark area, is a very interesting style of costume and allows for some really great character movements. So I appreciate that style of costume. I'm working with potentially two. I'm looking to get some, I guess, proposals from Amazing Mascots and another one who is actually a former Philly Fanatic himself. Does another set of costumes for a new mascot costume. The mascots that you're seeing here are kind of like, I like that alien look, that monster look, Sesame Street in a sense, but yet something that kids are attracted to, but yet adults don't find childish. Like this one might be a little too kid friendly. In a sense, but I definitely want something that adults are attracted to as well. I totally dig the goofy Casey Wolf look. I totally dig Parker here. This is from Fresno Grizzlies minor league baseball team. Sort of a goofy look. I like that. I also like the idea that, you know, like with the Philly Fanatic here, you don't know if that's male or female. You don't know what it is. It's an alien, a creature of sorts. I kind of dig that idea. I worked long ago with a guy who actually designed Slugger for the Royals. Also the University of Delaware, UD mascot. This guy's name's Tom Sapp. This is when I was trying to design a mascot for the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. And he showed me this mascot that he was working on at the time. Of course, this was 20 years ago now. This is called Buckley the Buckle Upperer. And always stuck in my head as far as how to utilize this to create that style of thing. Although I don't necessarily, I mean, I like that style of mascot, although this is a really big costume. I'm looking for something that's going to be a little bit lighter weight and easier to move around with, which is why I totally dig this style of costume here, because this is a hoop that goes around the belly. It's easy to move around in. So I will keep you all posted as far as how that goes to design this mascot, but I'm looking to hopefully create something that will be very interactive, something that I can actually take into schools, that I can do presentations. Dan Mears with Casey Wolf was a very unique mascot in the entire mascot industry. And I had an opportunity to film him during several of his presentations. He would actually go to schools and do speaking events from the costume. Typically, most mascots don't speak, and typically most mascots do not take their costumes off in front of people. He would do that. He would go in front of students, take off the costume, talk to the students, actually bring students up, have students put on the mascot costume, and do routines and all sorts of different things. And he would do it as far as an educational program for those students. I would love the opportunity to be able to do something like that with a Drive Safe Missoula mascot. Also something that, if it is professional enough, could be something that, for example, Monty might invite to a mascot game during a halftime of a football game or a basketball game or something like that, to where I can be invited to other things and I could utilize the mascot for not only buckle up stuff, but maybe also driving sober things. I could utilize it to create commercials where, the mascot's talking about driving sober, buckling up, child in car seat, all sorts of different things where I could have a universal Drive Safe Missoula message. So I'm in the process of developing the grant proposal for this right now. And I will keep you all posted as far as that goes. I just wanted to throw that out to everybody to let you know that this is what I'm working on. And if this is the case, because I get asked to do the kangaroo all the time, but I've turned it down several times because the costume is just not a good costume. Kevin Dusko was the one that handed it over to me. He's left already, but it's fallen apart on the inside. It has a paper mache head. Typically hot, sweaty, humid environments are not good with paper mache. I can't see out of it very well. I have huge, gigantic feet, which I'll go back to that screen and show you. You can see the feet here are gigantic. I got one tucked under there. It makes it extremely difficult to walk. I can't see out of it. And if I got a little one standing in front of me, that could be a hazard to them. So I don't want to, I want to make sure that I'm creating a mascot costume that's going to be safe for the public as well. So any thoughts, ideas, questions? Am I good to go for it?
I say yes. I think this would be so much fun at like homecoming events, like even at like MCPS or like in Frenchtown. Because of course that's where my mind always goes.
Sure.
But I think that'd be so much fun to have this at community events, and it'd be such an easy thing for kids to like remember. Like Smokey the Bear and Monty, and then you have this. So I think that'd be so much fun.
Well, and here's the deal with this as far as kids go. One, parents that have little kids are attracted to mascots because they want to get a picture of their kid with the mascot. I promise you, if any one of you was a 5 or 6 year old and you got an opportunity to take your picture with Casey Wolf, for example, and you were there, you would still have this picture today. And you would still understand that, hey, look, I got an opportunity to get my picture taken with Casey Wolf. Like, this is a huge deal. And you would still value that picture. And it gives me an opportunity to, one, have parents approach me in the costume where and obviously with other maybe volunteers that could actually speak to give that information. But it is that draw. The name I'm leaning towards, and I'd like to get a feeling for this, for the costume, if it was like a goofy character, say like this, for example, or Parker, I guess that's the one I'm kind of leaning more towards, is that style, is Rox, ROX. One, it could be short for Roxanne, but nobody knows. But I like to play on words where I can say, you know, wearing a seatbelt rocks. Having your child in a car seat rocks. Driving sober rocks. And, you know, I could use those messages where it flashes up and then I show the mascot Rox, and that's its name, ROX. You know, thanks for driving safe, Missoula. You know, driving safe, Missoula rocks, whatever the case may be. That's kind of the play on words that I'm going for, with a short, easy name that kids are going to remember. So, and it ties into the message delivery of what we are trying to do here. And if I'm at, you know, halftime show at the Grizz game, I could be talking about, you know, or performing with a shirt on that talks about driving sober rocks, and you know, help get that message out to people that are in an environment where they're drinking. So thumbs up. Okay. And Sergeant Hebert, I mean, I'd ride on the back of the motorcycle in a big costume and let you parade me around town. That'd be no problem at all.
See if we can figure that out.
I'm just saying. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, excellent. Thank you all for sticking around. I really appreciate it. Please do reach out to me with any comments, questions, requests, or concern. I am at your service here. If you do have any ideas about what we talked about here, do let me know. If you didn't mention it here, I am, you know, obviously I recorded it and I'll put all the minutes together, get it on the website, hopefully sooner than later. But do reach out to me. And with that, if barring any other final comments, questions, or requests, have a great day.
Thanks for everything, Steve.
You bet. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks. Bye.